Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And today, I was just thinking about the whole unsolicited advice thing, and we've talked about it before, but I feel like talking about it again. And I told myself I'm not going to even think about it anymore because I used to be all like, well, if I already talked about something, I shouldn't talk about it again, but that doesn't even make sense. So, because remember, I was treating the podcast too much like a person, I think, which is part of the point and part of the allure. But at the same time, it's like, why do I need to do that? I do not need to do that. So let's just not do that. Period. All right. So, yeah, when I was younger, I guess in my head, I just never even thought about it, but I couldn't have really imagined why a person wouldn't want to hear advice. Like, I personally never thought about it when I thought about that coming up in a conversation. Why would I have a problem with being given advice or hearing advice? If somebody had something important or beneficial for me to say, or for me to hear, wait, if somebody had something, if somebody had something important or beneficial to say, and I was there to hear it, why would I not want to know what the beneficial thing was? It just doesn't, I don't know. Why wouldn't I want to? And if I had to change something about myself as a result of that, why wouldn't I want to do that so I could have a better life? I'm realizing now as I'm talking about it, part of the problem is that a lot of times people are around people in their lives who either give very poor advice or people who are just overbearing in general. And it's kind of messy on both ends. I think we've talked about this before. Yeah, maybe there is a problem with giving unsolicited advice, giving it. Maybe there is a problem with that. But is there also a listening problem? If we give the advice of don't give unsolicited advice, does this say more about there being a problem with unsolicited advice, or is there an issue with listening? Have people's ability to listen gotten bad? I think so. I think people deal with people in their lives who don't really give good advice, and as a result of that, they have a negative connection to being told what to do. There are many people in positions of authority who tell others what to do, and it's not good advice at all. And somebody might listen to them, and then things don't work out because the authority figure was wrong. There's all kinds of things that happen. And but some people just want to rebel. They want to revolt. It's just a part of them. For whatever reason, this is where they're at. This is what they want to do. Somebody tells them to do something, even if it's the right thing, they just don't want to do it. And it's a shame. In some ways, it's a shame that humans act like this, but I still think it would be ideal for us if we just had good, positive role models to follow, people to look up to, leaders who actually led us in a positive direction. I think that's where humans want to fall. Because you kind of wonder how rebellion really materializes. It's usually not for productive reasons necessarily. But unsolicited advice, it's two things. It's that people aren't good at listening, I think more so than speaking. People aren't good at either, don't get me wrong, but I think people are worse at listening than talking. But I guess it depends on the person. And so we have this rule about, oh, don't give unsolicited advice, but why do we not tell people to listen? Well, it's kind of just comes with the territory. You can't force a person to listen, but you could definitely force yourself to talk in a different way. I just think the problem, I guess there's not really a solution to it. I guess that's what the problem is. But for me, it was always so confusing. I'm not really sure why. It was just so confusing to me. Learning a lot of these social behaviors, I think to many people, they just kind of make sense and people just follow them. But to me, I really question it. I really think to myself, why would I do that? Why does that make any sense? Why can't I give, like, it just doesn't it doesn't add up. But I think to most people it does, and I think some people even just do it automatically because it's just it's they assimilate easily into it. But I obviously never really was able to do that. It also connects to my mindset about change. Since I was a teenager, I never really had too much of a problem with change. I thought to myself, why don't I change things about myself in order to become better, to improve? I liked video games, but I thought to myself, What good does this do? What does this actually accomplish? So why don't I just find a different outlet? I think in a way this isn't super healthy for the human brain. I think people and their brains, I don't know why that sounds funny to me. They don't really like change. They don't really want to change. I was just thinking about it because to me, it's like, well, whatever my personality is, that's not really that important. But what would be important is optimizing it for a better, for something better. Instead of playing video games, what if I liked doing something else that was more productive? Most people, I don't think they have these dialogues. I think it's way too complicated. The things that they end up liking in life, their interests, it's already enough. It's already too much to keep track of. And this is kind of the problem that modern society presents itself as. We get hyped up on all these crazy special things and you get desensitized to them, you get used to them, they become your baseline. And, now you're in this situation where you're kind of depressed, but your baseline is pretty high. So in this case, with what I'm talking about, it's like TikTok, you're used to it. It's kind of difficult to stop because you're low key miserable. And that's the thing that satiates you. And in order to stop, it's difficult to stop. Once you're used to that as being the norm, how could you want to change it? It's people's day-to-day lives are pretty difficult. We get tired. A lot of us arguably have rougher lives than is really fair because, of inequality and stuff. Some people have these like extra good, easy lives. And then other people are left in the dust where it's basically worse lives, kind of forgotten about. So it's a lot to try to put in effort to change a person. It's a lot of effort for somebody. To try to change another. It's a significant amount of effort. Well, really to change themselves, That's what I mean to say. I don't know why I said change another. To change themselves because your life is already tired. And if you were to quit this thing that you're hyped up on, it would be even worse. Most people, as is, they're struggling to find joy. They're struggling to find something that really hits them, really makes them happy. Because the truth is, it's more addictive to look for things that would make us happy than to actually do them. And so we get caught in those loops because it is just more addictive. It just is. And that's why it's hard to even do anything. That's why for somebody to even consider changing or altering their personality or trying to improve or optimize it, it's just something that never even crosses people's minds. Because in their own lives, they're so busy, they have to worry about career and work and doing this and doing that. Why would they have any time or energy to think about changing themselves? If they want to do something, they're going to do it. Because that's all they really have, the mental energy, the mental space, and the mental time to think. If a video game makes them feel good, they're just doing it. They're not thinking about any of the stuff I'm thinking about, and presumably the only reason why I've been able to think about it is because in my life I've had the time that I've had. And it basically got to the point where, you know, I had so much time to play video games to my heart's content that it really lost its luster after a while. Whereas if I had been structured and strapped into something and I wasn't really able to experience freedom, I'm sure the grass would look greener on the other side of the fence. But in my case, I've felt and I've known freedom firsthand, and I don't really see what the hype is. But I think, again, it's just that most people live in too overstructured of lives or lives with little flexibility. So because most people live in these lives, they're infatuated by the concept of freedom. To feel what that's like, to not have to do anything. But when I was there, I just wanted to have to do something. So the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. I think I'm pretty tired. I think this week it's like it's only Tuesday, and that's kind of hitting me. And then I don't think I slept great last night. I didn't sleep great. Didn't sleep bad, but you know, didn't sleep great. I don't know. Why am I even talking about this? What are we talking about? I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so for people to change, it doesn't really make any sense. Like most people aren't even given enough time to really think about changing anything. And I think this kind of would also explain why I'm so confused about how other people are, how it seems like people are just obsessed with joking and laughing and like having a good time. And I'm always like, how are people doing this when there's so many more important things to deal with or think about or talk about? Like, we have a lot of problems as a species that have to get worked on. And I think that's where that stems from. But the clear answer is that there's a lot of systemic inefficiencies that keep people down. So that's really what ends up happening is, you know, there's a lot of these things and factors that people don't have control over that bog them down. And so for them just to be able to crack a joke and just get a laugh out seems like the only thing they really have the bandwidth for, or the only thing that even makes any sense. Because why would somebody talk about something so heavy when their life already feels heavy? It's just that the heaviness their life is given is not, it's meaningless. It's oftentimes just due to, again, a lot of these inefficiencies that society presents itself as having. Because ultimately, there's a few people that end up having more free time. They usually just blow it on pleasure instead of probably doing what they should do, which is thinking about and trying to construct better systems for society. And then you have, you know, the haves and the have-nots. And the haves really should be looking out for the have-nots and trying to structure things in a way that's fairer, but in reality, they don't. In reality, the haves just take what they have and act without any thought really for other people or anything like that. And so that's where my confusion stems from. Most people, I just don't think they can figure it out. So a lot of this stuff has just been confusing for me to really figure out why people are the way they are, and all this stuff. It's taken a while. It's taken me to really get older to understand. Many people just latch onto it or get it, but that wasn't really the case for myself, obviously. Because a lot of my perspectives or impressions on these things, they just it just took so long to understand like where other people are coming from and why is that so different of how I interpret the world or I think about the world. And again, some of it's environmental, but some of it isn't. Like I think there could have been somebody born inside my environment who just abused it and never really had much consideration for anything. So it's definitely partially both, you know? And it's just taken a long time. It's just taken a long time of thinking, of dealing with people, trying to understand. And I think in most people's case, their social ability comes mostly naturally because their mindsets happen to be mindsets that are more valid or valuable to the median person. But there's all kinds of things. I mean, but yeah, I do think that's true. It's just how people are. It's much closer to the median than I am. So yeah, maybe somebody could just do some research, change a few things, and then now they're very good with people and they're good around people. But then someone like me, there's a lot at my core that I don't. It makes it difficult to mesh. And it's not these like immature, I don't want to try. It's just, I think it's the type of people that I would want to be around are rare. It's uncommon. Not to say that there's any objective superiority, but I mean, maybe there is. I don't really know. I'm not. I guess I don't really feel like commenting on that. Sorry, I'm just reflecting a lot right now for some reason. So I'm like, I know I've been I almost feel like this episode is boring. I guess I just want to document that the way I'm speaking, it doesn't really feel great. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm definitely taking some pauses and stuff, and it's a little bit not ideal, but I don't know if it's actually bad or not. The topic felt a little bit slow, the delivery was a little slow. But like I said, I'm in a strange mind right now. So I just don't know, precisely where I'm at. And it's weird. It's like, it's only Tuesday. Because I feel like for me, especially, the week is so different post Tuesday. The week is so different. Because of how I front load my weeks. It's so different post Tuesday. But like waking up and it's like it's only Tuesday. You'd like it to at least be Wednesday. I don't even know what I'm talking about. How did it go from what I was talking about was so like deep and true, and now I'm just like some random person whining about a bunch of empty words that don't even, our human obsession and instinct to just like, oh my gosh, it's not the weekend yet. It's not the weekend yet. Like for what? For what? What? So what? It's not the weekend yet. We only have the present anyway. That's the only thing that's real. I always used to focus so much on that, and I still do, but I realize more and more, I've realized like it never ends. It's true, that whole saying where the present is all you really have. So it's just more addicting to be like seeking something or looking for something. It's more addicting. So yeah, it gets complicated. Gets very complicated. Things get so complicated. Things get so complicated. And how do we figure it all out? How do we unravel this whole mess? Yeah, see, I'm usually on it in the morning. Usually, it's been the early days on the ride home are the tough ones, but today it was the morning. I don't know. There was obviously a lot of silence and not really stuff I want, but I have told myself like, hey, it's your time. It's not the microphone. It's the microphone's making me happy. I shouldn't be making the mic happy. That's like how I've been thinking about things. Whoa. Well, we made it. We made it. All right. Well, it has been schla, and now it's time to buy schla. So, see you, schla.